Hey guys, welcome back to the Law of Attraction Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Natasha Graziano, and today in the studio, we have a beautiful soul who is, if you know KABBALAH, right? The red string, if you know anything about spirituality, he is like a leading expert and teacher from KABBALAH. He teaches ancient wisdom, but what's even cooler about this guy is he puts it all down to his success. His success has been built because of this. He is the co-founder of Mary Ruth Organics, which is one of the, in fact, isn't it the top?
It's probably the leading vitamin in many different spaces all around the world. Yes.
Wow. I mean, this is awesome. So we're not only going to learn about building a billion-dollar business today, we're going to learn about spirituality and how that is a big part of your success. So you're on the right show, Law of Attraction Secrets. Welcome to the show, David Ghiyam.
Introduction. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for being here. It was so destined. We were like the way we met. Every single piece of this story, from meeting in Soho House.
Yes.
To
it was such a random meeting. You're never there.
Ever. I've been 5 times on my membership. Like, fuck. I just don't use it. I'm so busy.
And then I find out that you've been studying Kabbalah for over a decade.
Yes. This is the most...
and with one of my colleagues.
I know. It's so powerful. And then over here as well, I go to the Beverly Hills one.
Yes.
I go in more for like my sound baths,
yes.
you know. Do you know all the teachers here as well? Is that where you teach?
That's where I teach.
Wow.
Yes.
How have I never... Well, I'm not in there that often.
Yeah. I'm sure that we've probably run into each other, just didn't know at the time.
Yeah. God, that's so interesting. My original teacher was Yaeli.
Oh, really? Also,
she started my journey.
I've known them for 20 years.
Wow. And then, yeah, Ruthie and me, it was so natural. Avi and Ruthie was so powerful. But anyway, we're going into all these names. You guys are like, who are these people? Okay, let's talk about your growth as a human. You know, you've built this incredible business. But you said something really interesting, Anna. You said, I wouldn't be as successful as I am if I didn't spend the other 50% of my time on charity work.
Yes.
On spirituality.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So my trajectory was that when I was 15 years old, I was introduced to the wisdom of Kabbalah. I went to one seminar, totally enamored by it, changed my life. I saw that this is like ancient spirituality, that if you access it, you can access like all the abundance in this world. So I went all in. And then at 19 years old, I decided, after I graduated from college, I decided to go full-time as a volunteer, to teach and to guide people all around the world. So traveled around the world, gave several thousand seminars, almost like 4 or 5 a week. And then during the day, I was coaching people. I was doing all of that for charities. That was 100% of my time was devoted for about, I would say, 10, 12 years. And then at the age of 29, Mary Ruth and I, we started this company called Mary Ruth Organics. So 50% of my time started to go towards business, because I realized to have a family and to really grow up in New York City at the time, you have to be able to make your own money. You can't just work for a charity. And I'll say, like, I had no business experience. I had really no background besides helping other people spiritually with their companies and their lives and their personal lives. And it's the wisdom of Kabbalah that gave me the framework, the spiritual technology of how to navigate this business world. We had probably $700 to start building our first product, which was a liquid vitamin, like a 32-ounce bottle. I learned all of it on YouTube. So I would teach and guide people from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. And from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., I would watch YouTube videos on manufacturing, marketing, Facebook, design. That iconic logo that today is considered like one of the best types of designer packaging cost me $15. It was a $9 Canva subscription.
Whoa.
Plus I took a photo of Mary Ruth and I sent it to a guy on Fiverr for $5, and he made it into a caricature. I put it together, made a label, and we printed it, and that has had 1 or 2 iterations in the last 10 years.
Wow, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's like the original parts of it. The way it even looks, like, sorry, as a product is so beautiful. Like, it's so organic. Exactly what you wanted to put across to your audience. So, okay, you built this business. How did you build it? You bootstrapped it, I guess. You built it from home. How did you start creating?
So we bootstrapped it from home. And the big thing I saw about 10 years ago was that Amazon was going to be like the next big thing. But people were kind of making fun of it. Like, what is Amazon? So we put the product up there. It took off. And then we just started to build out our line. We got about 250 products. We have about 200 employees. We're in about 180 countries. And we're pretty much in almost every store in the nation now, but our biggest channel is Amazon. And I think the thing that really made it work, and I give so much of this credit, actually most of this credit to Mary Ruth, is I realized there's a mindset component to letting energy in. Because a lot of people do all the right things. They say the right things, they do all the right things, they know the right people, they have the funding, they have the idea, and they put it all together, but either it takes off and hits a ceiling or it never takes off at all. And what I realized spiritually is that like our soul, Kabbalah explains like our soul is a vessel to receive energy.
Yeah.
And this vessel has a lot to do with your capacity to feel that you deserve to receive. So that's number one. If you don't think you deserve to receive success, or you don't feel it is natural for you to receive success, you could do all the right things, but it's like trying to drive a car with your foot on the pedal and the parking brake on. There is this force that is resisting you from being successful. For example, I know a guy that every time he builds a company, he's built a couple, he can get it to like 5 or 10 million of revenue, and then it all falls apart. Employees start quitting, lawsuits start happening, self-sabotage happens, and he says to me, I don't get it. There's like a curse above this level. But what it really means is there's a subconscious undeserving that's within him that he believes anything over 10 million of revenue
He's not worthy
he's
of.
not worthy of, or he maybe associates it with evil. Like I taught in Brazil once, and there was like this overwhelming theme because of colonization that they believe they don't deserve, and money is the source of all evil. So what's happening is subconsciously, even though they're trying to be successful, they're pushing success away. We see this in relationships, we see this in business. People say, hey, I want to get married. I want to find someone. And then there's a subconscious desire that is competing with that outward desire that they're telling everybody about. So maybe what's the subconscious desire? I want to be independent. I don't want anybody telling me what to do. I don't want my body to change shape because I'm going to get pregnant. So there's like a subconscious sabotage that happens on an energetic level that doesn't let the energy in.
Wow, so powerful. So when building a business, you have to have a vessel which is expansive enough to be able to receive that blessing. The same in a relationship. If you keep pouring in and it's already filled with bad or whatever, it doesn't have anywhere to go. It overspills. So you have to have a vessel that is open and big enough to receive.
Correct.
Which is why we manifest to us what we are.
Correct.
We manifest not what we want, what we are. So we will attract a partner who has also got a vessel who's really open and ready, if that's where we are, and feels deserving,
Correct.
feels like worthy. And I love this from studying Kabbalah for all this time. But I love that you teach it. So, oh my God, I want to pick your brains on this today.
Think about all the people right now listening.
Yeah.
And the first thing you need to know just by hearing this podcast is the Creator wants to give you infinitely more than you even wanted to receive.
Yes.
People think like, oh, I'm being held back.
Yeah.
Or the universe is against me. It's not fair. This, then. The universe is trying to push this energy.
I
into your
love
vessel.
this.
And imagine like a light bulb. A 60-watt bulb can only hold 60 watts of energy. But there are people who say, I want 1,000 watts of energy, or I want a 1,000-watt relationship, but you're a 60-watt bulb. You have to transform your vessel to let that energy in. And if you try to bring in energy that your vessel can't hold, that's what a short circuit is.
I understand this. So it's like the voltage, right? So in Kabbalah 1, we learn all the basics to spirituality. If anybody really is like wanting to get into the law of attraction, that's what Kabbalah is.
100%.
It is the basis of everything in life. There is nothing that is missed from it. And it's not a religion. It's not some kind of cult. It's just a practice that you do and you learn and you understand. And it's not... It's so beautiful. There's nothing that I've ever seen negative about it. It's
my entire following is every different religion, every spiritual practice, atheist, agnostic, doesn't matter. Kabbalah helps tie it all together.
It does. It brings everybody together. Let's dive in more on that. So if somebody's looking to attract love into their life or to expand their business, okay, how do they open their vessel for more and make sure that they attract to them the partner who has the ability to receive that?
Beautiful. So there's probably two things just to start with. And we talk about that in Kabbalah 1 also, which is first to realize your soul came to this world with what we call tikkun, correction.
Yeah, tikkun.
There's layers of negativity that your soul, like spiritual baggage that your soul came into the world with. And your soul actually realizes that in order to earn all the miracles, earn a soulmate, earn success and wealth, earn healing, earn wisdom, the way you spiritually earn all of those energies and expand and open your vessel is to work on the spiritual baggage that your soul came to the world with. So for whoever is listening, you chose the life you have. You chose your parents. Like,
before you even came to earth.
Exactly, before you came, because you knew that those parents would be the absolute best, whether they were toxic, avoidant, going to get divorced, loving. That dynamic was important for your soul to see what the negativity it had brought into the world. And only by seeing it were you able to transform it. So we actually pick the relationships that are best to show us what our spiritual baggage is. So if you have a fear of abandonment, you will look for and actually predestinedly choose an avoidant person who will be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and break your heart so that you could see you have this issue.
Wow, that's crazy. Oh my God, continue.
All right, so that's the first step, and that has so many layers to it. And you work on one layer and a new layer opens up, because the ultimate goal is to have affinity of form with the vibration of the creator. So Kabbalah is explaining what's the vibration of the creator, how far am I from that vibration, and here is how I peel layer after layer to get there. So that's the first thing I would tell practically everyone who's listening. Everything that's upsetting you about the people in your life, everyone who has hurt you, every fear that has come up, make a list, because that's what your soul came to the world with, and all that matters and all the universe is waiting for is for you to transform that. And as long as you're blaming other people and this fault, that fault, like you're just stagnant, you're going to repeat this process every day. You're going to keep attracting the same type of humans that will trigger you, and you might actually have to come back another lifetime to fix it. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is the other way we expand our vessel to receive miracles, love and sustenance, let's say those two things, is that every day tests will come to make you reactive. And your job is to transform the reactive emotions when they come. So for example, the definition of reactive behavior is any thought, word, or action that comes from lack or fear in order to connect to instant gratification. So every time you're feeling afraid, you're feeling you're missing something, you're feeling lack and void, that often happens after a breakup, often happens after you hear bad news, often happens after somebody hurts you, somebody doesn't do something the way you want, somebody's trying to control you. Whatever your correction is, that's how you get reactive. As soon as you feel that lack and fear, you need to know that's the test your soul has been waiting for your whole life. And if you don't react, which I'll explain what that means, you then expand your vessel to let the miracles in. If you react, you will feel good for the moment, but you will shrink your vessel. You will push your wedding date out. You'll push meeting your soulmate out. You'll push sustenance out. And even if you have sustenance, you won't have the blessings from it.
Which is instant, we call it in Kabbalah, that is instant gratification versus long-term fulfillment.
Very good. So what does it mean? What can you do when you feel lack and fear? And I also want to think of practical examples that your audience might be going through. A lot of times people are going through relationship challenges, right? Someone is triggering you in some way, based on what your soul came to the world with. The next time you feel triggered and you feel afraid or alone or whatever, like let's say, for example, I don't know, what's a good challenge or test that your audience might go through? Like imagine you're in a relationship and you see your partner all of a sudden following somebody on Instagram.
Very basic stuff like this, or something, something around testing them with another person.
Another person walks into the store, right? Maybe an old ex comes back into the picture.
Something annoying that is triggering.
So why did this ex come back to the picture? Or why did your partner all of a sudden start to have a flirtatious conversation with someone, all right? We're not saying it's right or wrong or this, that, but what we're saying is the creator arranged that test only for you to see your negativity and your fears so you can transform it. And if you transform it, you will no longer have people in your life who do that.
And face the test. Okay, so practically, how do you react? Because I know with Kabbalah, we're taught to pause and say, what a pleasure. We pause, what a pleasure. Why is this happening in my movie? Not to me, in my movie. Okay, it's happening in my movie because I am meant to learn that XYZ. It's happening in my movie because I'm meant to realize. But how do you physically react? Like, I want to live in the 5D all the time. I'm just like floating up here. You should see where I live. I just live in this like oasis. And I love it. But how do I live in that with the physical? Like, it's really triggering me. What do I do?
I love it. We have to be in this physical world. We can't just be up in the mountain, right?
In the malhut.
We have to in the malhut. In the
The
physical
malhut
world.
means like the base level, and you don't really want to be like deeper in that, but
That's how you earn the light.
right.
That's how you earn this energy. You have to be in the game. So people who are avoidant of relationships, avoidant of difficult situations, avoidant of facing their fears, they're not in the game, so you can't reveal the energy. So number one, don't be afraid to be in the game. Don't be afraid to be in the mud. Don't be afraid to communicate or be in relationships or be vulnerable. Put yourself in scary situations that you know you're meant to. But number two, the phrase that we say is pause. What are we pausing? Pause going back to old patterns of instant gratification. So for example, let's say you just broke up with someone in your relationship and you feel really good. You're out of this toxic dynamic. You feel good for 3-4 days. And then what happens? The negative side starts to send you a movie reel of all the good times you had with the person, minus all the bad times. You start to miss the person.
Yes, you miss, and then but you're forgetting all of the shit.
You forget all of the toxicity.
Everything.
There's the test. And so what do you want to do? You want to start to troll them or kind of start to creep on them on Instagram or
Go back to them.
go back or you just want to text them. All of this is now coming from lack and fear. And this is your test. If you could pass this test by saying, you know what, I feel the lack, I feel the fear of being alone, the fear of they're moving on. And maybe you hear that they've already moved on, and then even more lack comes up. Pause. Feel the pain.
Yeah.
And you say, what a pleasure. What a pleasure is basically you saying, I agree with what the universe is doing, even though I don't understand it. I agree, and I know this is expanding my vessel to give me more. You asked for a soulmate, and then the creator gave you the strength to leave a toxic relationship. But the negative side is trying to get you to go back to it to shrink your vessel because that's the game. Here is the test. Can you pass this test? Can you overcome your fear? Which means don't reach out. Don't look for the comfort. That's temporary comfort.
It's so true. If you give in to the temporary comfort, you really are telling the universe, I don't mind this, give me more. And so the creator, the universe, the light will just show you more of that thing. So we have to pass all these tests in our life. And when we point the finger and say, they're the problem, look at this. This comes from Kabbalah. You guys have seen me talk about this many times. 1, 2, 3 fingers are pointing back at who? At me. Who's the problem? I am the problem. So everything we face in our life is nothing to do with other people. It's about our reaction.
Correct.
So being reactive is one of the first things to learn, that you cannot be as reactive as what you want to be. Maybe anger is your tikkun.
It could be anger. It could be control. All of a sudden, you're not in control. All of a sudden, something's happening in your business and you're losing control. All of a sudden, something's in your relationship dynamic and the power is changing and you're not in control. Just pause. Just pause and say, what a pleasure. And trust the process. Trust the creator. When you're no longer reactive, then your soul is actually plugged in to this endless energy and you can confront the situation. But never confront or try to solve the problem when you're coming from fear, pain, or lack. And I'll give you another example. Every time something great's about to come into your life is when you're going to get most reactive right before. If you have a horrible morning, if you're waking up with sadness, fear, anxiety, that's a good sign. It means that there's energy that's trying to come in later that day. And so the lack and fear is coming up first thing in the morning. So every negative feeling you're having is a good sign. It precedes a great revelation. Now, one time in my company, my CFO called me and said, we just fell victim to some kind of wire fraud. Basically, these people pretend to be someone else, rerouted the money, whatever. We lost a large sum of money. Okay, I heard this on the phone. I'm on the phone and listening to this, and you can imagine fear, lack, pain, wanting to try to solve the problem right away. Call the FBI, call a lawyer. I realized at that moment, that fear, pain, and lack, and the audience knows, we all have our own relative, like that moment where the scary news comes. And I just realized, okay, this is my moment. Great energy is trying to be revealed, and here's the test. I said, all right, let me call you back. Put the phone down. I said, pause. Told myself, do not react here. Do not try to solve this problem. And what a pleasure. I started to pace my room, singing and dancing. What a pleasure. I started to try to get excited about the fact that I'm getting this opportunity. This is just a test to expand my vessel.
Wow, this is amazing. This is the blend of business meets spirituality. I would be going crazy.
Well, I was going crazy, and I said, wait a minute, this is a test.
So you channeled your energy in a different way.
I had to channel this energy to expand my vessel because I selfishly wanted all of this light and energy that's supposed to come in. The creator wants to give me 10x my business, but can't until I pass this test. So you need to pass the illusion of not having in order to build the vessel of having. That illusion, it was an illusion, right? Because now but the money's gone. And guess what? We never got that money back. Even though I spent that 30 minutes getting excited and I passed the test, quote unquote, that money was gone. But a month or two later, we started to have a hockey stick growth, which was stagnant, and we were stagnant for a while, but then all of a sudden new growth came in, and we got back 10 to 20 times what we lost in that wire fraud. So what's interesting is you may not get that one solution you want. You may have to do all this spiritual work in your current relationship. That relationship might leave, but you're building the vessel for that healthy, loving, more powerful relationship that you've always wanted. So you can't look at where the blessings will come from. You just need to work on yourself, prepare the vessel.
Love that.
Have trust and certainty that the rest is going to work.
I love that. Let's talk about certainty, because certainty is everything.
Okay.
When you were building this business, how did you know I'm going to invest money and that I'm going to make it back? So it's the spirituality behind the building of the business.
The one common theme of every great leader, of every successful person that we know, is that they have something that's illogical certainty. Why do these CEOs get paid hundreds of millions of dollars? They don't know even as much about the business as many people under them or lower management does. You pay hundreds of millions of dollars to people like billions to people like Elon Musk for two reasons. One, they have vision. So they see something with an unlimited belief system about receiving. They see a vision that no one else sees. That's what you're paying for. But the second thing you're paying for is certainty. Certainty in the face of darkness, certainty in the face of fear, certainty in the face of bankruptcy, certainty in the face of loneliness. If you feel lonely, if you feel like you're not going to get what you want, if you feel confused about the future, this is another test. You are being tested, and the solution here is pause, what a pleasure, but then saying to yourself this mantra, I have complete certainty beyond logic in the light of the Creator. I have complete certainty. I may not understand what's happening, but I am going to choose, even if I have to fake it in the beginning, choose to have certainty that everything is going to work out to my benefit. And I'm going to have everything. Not only am I going to have everything, I already have it. I already have the energy. I'm going to live my life as if I already have this energy. Here's something interesting. How did we actually build the business? I didn't tell you this story. For a year after I got married, I realized we had no money, and I was actually very sad and depressed. That was my big test. I've spent my whole life helping people, and I myself have nothing to show for it. And I went through that little process of sadness, and then I realized, walking down the streets of New York City, I realized this is my test, and I've been failing it for a year. In my mind, I said, I'm no longer going to be sad. I'm going to live as if I already have billions of dollars. I looked at the buildings, and I said, I own these buildings. But I had like maybe a couple $100, and I was in debt. And I said, from now on, the way I treat people, the way I show up to my friends, the way I show up to my family, the way I show up in Kabbalah, I'm going to walk in as if I already have all my problems solved. I have to operate at that vibration.
Love that.
7 days later, we came up with the idea, our first product for a liquid vitamin. That idea could not come in the vessel of sadness.
No, it couldn't. It's so true. I went through many phases in my life, but one that I went through a few years ago was not my lowest point, which was back 6 years ago. My lowest point after that was where I was I didn't know, but deeply depressed and sad. And I felt like, how do I get out of here? I wasn't making enough money. I was a single mom. And I was like, okay, this is an itchy place. What do I do? And I switched my mentality. I was like, I am no longer in a place of lack. If I want to make money, I have to get rid of the people around me that don't serve me, eradicate anybody that is suctioning the energy, cleanse my spirit, cleanse my soul, and now stand in a place of abundance and live from a place of certainty that money is going to come into my life, certainty that love is going to be in my life. And I lived from a place of, and this is where Be It Till You Become It came from. I wrote my book because I started to decide you have to be it until you become it. You have to write in advance your story in the past tense. You have to believe it in your mind and go into the operating system of your mind and realign the thought process, rewire your subconscious mind to believe I am something different, even though I'm not there right now. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not. It's whether I believe it. And I believe it in my core. I believe it in my soul that I'm going to change and be this woman. And so how does it feel to be out of this mess and be a millionaire? How does it feel to be in love with a family? How does it feel to be all these things? And I snapped into her and I had complete certainty every day. And I remember it coming up to Rosh Hashanah and I was like, it was that, the cleansing period, which is now.
Yeah, we are in a cleansing period for the whole world.
Right.
This is 7 more weeks.
I know. This is where you
I don't know when the show's going to drop, but technically from this point, from the day we're recording it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's August and September, guys, for anyone who's watching. So, okay, so now what's incredible is I really have this certainty and I write this story, which then births my book, which then births my new me, and it births my method scripting, which I went on to do a TED talk on. I didn't know it was going to be so big. And it was instantly picked up and it went viral. So this is how I decided to realign my thoughts. But without that certainty, I wouldn't be where I am. Without that certainty, I wouldn't be who I am on stage today, who I am in the world helping people, because I had to commit to something different. Because if I looked around me, it was lack, fear, bad people, bad choices, no money, single mom, still battling the end of overcoming a real illness that was, it was really hard. So I was like, no. Who's the new Natasha? And I redesigned her. So people can play on it and play to your lows and say, oh, she changed her name. Yeah, because I kept my name, Natasha, but I've changed my name when I got married, of course, to become the new me. That helps. I wanted to leave behind the old me, love her, but go on with certainty into a new place. And that's helped me to build my business. And that's helped me to build who I am today. What was a pivotal moment in your life where you had to commit to this new journey, this certainty with the Creator?
I would say probably every 4 years, this is what happens to me, is I'll go through a period of uncertainty, darkness, confusion, and I can't see the future. And this becomes, I have a choice at that moment, which is to live by the vessel of sadness, live by the vessel of, why is this happening to me? Live by the vessel of anger or need to control, or shift to the exact vessel you just talked about. The problem that people have with living by the vessel of certainty is that people have certainty when, for example, oh, I have money in the bank, so I am certain that I have money. Certainty is not when you can see it. Certainty is when every indication is against it. You have no idea when you're getting married. You have no idea when you're going to have children, and your biological clock is ticking, and you're starting to have fear. Can you have the same certainty as you did when you were 26 years old, when you were thinking, you know what, I have all the time in the world, I'm going to be with someone? I mean, that's the biggest thing. When I talk to men, the thing that scares men in relationships many times, especially if they're dating, is when a clock is ticking and a pressure is put on them, not because they don't want to get married and have children. It's mainly because they feel a reactive energy. Men and women are allergic to reactive energy when you are coming from a place of fear or lack. And I told this one woman, when she said, I'm going out on a date and this topic is going to come up, it's like our second or third date. And if he asked me, what do I want in my life? How do I respond? And I said, well, what do you want? She's like, well, I want to get married in the next 2 years and I want to have kids. I said, well, you should not say that on the date. I said, because that's coming from your own fear and lack. Yes, I get that's your desire. But really, if I had to connect to the best essence, the highest vibration of you, what you are and at this place in your life is, you should tell him, I'm living my best life. Right now, I want to vibrate on the highest level. I want to live my life one day at a time. And I want to welcome in the most amazing energies that come in. And I'm so happy that the universe has brought me you right now. That's my goal. She said that on the date. I mean, his jaw dropped on the floor and you could see like he wanted to propose at the moment. Because people want to be attracted to the energy of your highest self. And of course, when you can operate at that vibration, then you can be vulnerable and share, hey, look, these are my fears. These are my insecurities. This is my nonsense in this lifetime that I'm working on. But I'm also showing you that because I know how to operate at this level. That's power. I'm not saying be avoidant of your negativity. I'm saying be strong, connect to your highest self, and then be able to be vulnerable and share.
So true.
With this part. Like you just did.
Yes, absolutely. And the more we do that, the more blessings that flow in. So interesting. So, okay, when you talk about times when you've not focused on spirituality as much and you've gone all in on the business, why did you tell me that the business didn't flow as good?
Yeah, so I tested this. People are like, wow, your business got so successful, there's so much momentum, and you're only working on it like 30-40% of the time. And can you imagine if you actually devoted all your time, you'd be much more successful. I knew that wasn't the truth, but there were times where I stepped away from teaching, coaching, helping, all for charity, and I said, well, let me try to build the business. And when I did that, there was more problems in the business. I have learned that and I learned this from my teacher, Karen Berg, if I can be there.
Karen was your teacher.
Yeah, Karen guided me for 25 years before she physically left this world. And I got this example when I asked Karen, like, what's the secret to success? She said, help other people find their soulmate, you'll find yours. Help other people be successful.
So true. I literally help people all the time find their soulmate.
Right. Everyone's their soulmate. And I say, you know what? Create a list of your 10 closest friends. Pray for them every day. Stop thinking about yourself. If you start to send the energy to your friends, you then build the vessel for a soulmate. But if you're just focused on yourself, you're the opposite energy of a soulmate because you're in a needy, reactive mode. It's really like a spiritual life hack.
Love this. Okay, I'm going to write my list and I'm going to pray for 10 people. This is so good. We're going to do a video in a second after this because that's such a good one. And then because I pray for people all the time when they're like, I want to manifest this. I'm like, help them get this. If it's for the highest good of them, highest good of everyone, like this is so good.
You know what could be an amazing idea? I mean, you have millions of people around the world who are listening to you. Imagine they could write in, like, this is what I need to be prayed for. And every episode, you know, sometimes there's like brand sponsors people talk about. Every episode say, hey, we are praying for Julie from Tennessee.
Yes. Oh my God, I love this. Have like requests of like
spiritual sponsorships.
Yeah, spiritual sponsorships. So like, where do you want the energy sent to? That is so good.
That's millions of people praying for Julie to find her soulmate this week.
I know, I love that. They do it in church as well. That's what they do. It's so beautiful.
Prayer is a technology. Prayer builds a vessel.
It does.
Prayer is not bribing God to give you what you want. The energy is already there. Prayer changes the energetic frequency of your vessel to let what is already there in.
I love that. Okay, so go back to the business. So you did this test where you stopped doing your practices as much.
This just had more problems. So I had to readjust.
Whoa.
Recalibrate and be like, find that perfect balance to be in both worlds. And then what happens is all of a sudden you realize you need to spend more time with family. All of a sudden you realize more friends, right? You get messages from the universe. I learned this from Michael Berg, another mentor of mine.
The Rav? Oh, no, the son?
The son of Rav Berg. I asked him, I said, how do you balance 4 kids, you know, running a spiritual worldwide organization, your marriage, or this? He said, you give energy, and then the universe sends you subtle signs of how you need to shift energy now, spend more time with kids. Now the business needs you. So there's always going to be that shift in energy. There's no perfect way to do it. The question is, are you open to the universe speaking to you, and are you nimble? Because people get very defensive. All of a sudden, if your wife is telling you, your husband's telling you, hey, I feel disconnected from you, don't be defensive. That's the universe saying, hey, you know what? Let me take some time now and readjust my energy that way. That's what your soul needs. That's what the other person's soul needs. And sometimes then the business needs you. Sometimes the kids need you. Sometimes your personal life needs you. Whatever. Just be open. And every day, Michael Berg taught me this, every day, ask the Creator, what do you need me to do today? As long as you ask this question out loud and you're open, the universe will guide you.
I love that, and it does. When you wake up and you're like, universe, show me, like, what do you need from me today? Or show me my assignment. I talk about that a lot. I love this. Waking up and actually going, it's not about me. There's something greater here. What is the greater consciousness about?
What do you mean the greater consciousness?
So we talk about the fact that we are raising the consciousness on the planet, right? From the perspective of you, tell me what you believe about this.
the greatest consciousness that the sages share is just certainty in the light of the Creator. Having certainty is the highest vibration that you can have, because where do all the problems come from? Every war, every painful situation in your life, every bit of chaos stemmed from a lack of certainty. As soon as people become afraid and they don't have certainty, then they commit crime, commit genocide, war, power struggles. They start to hurt, become defensive, all because of lack of certainty. Why do people love drugs so much? Think of the pandemic of drugs that we have. It's because drugs temporarily draw light and gives you certainty. When a person is drinking or taking a Vicodin or doing cocaine, I'm not saying I don't want to get into if it's good or bad, but what drugs do give you temporary light.
They do. They give you that connection.
Right? The problem is you didn't earn that temporary connection, so there's a crash. You didn't actually change your vessel to hold light. You just forced artificial light into your vessel for a moment. And then you all of a sudden have certainty, you have confidence, you have all these things that you didn't have before. Yeah, but that's not you. You didn't earn that. And that's why there's a crash. And that's why addiction is so prevalent. Can you imagine that everything we're talking about here, what Kabbalah is sharing, and other spiritual modalities as well, basically helps you feel like you're on drugs without ever needing a drug?
I love it. It's so true. It's like breath work.
Correct. Breathwork is a big tool in Kabbalah.
Absolutely. It's so beautiful, and just tapping into something every day. That's why I love Kabbalah. It's so amazing. I'm going to actually put a link to the Kabbalah, maybe the masterclass below.
Yeah.
I feel like that will help someone, because you don't have to go into one of the centers. You can do it from home. You can watch the masterclass. And
yeah, so about 6 years ago, they professionally filmed one of my live Kabbalah ones that I did. It's like a 10-week course, 10 hours. And they put on a masterclass, and now hundreds of thousands of people all around the world take it, and it's virtually free. You can pay whatever you want, pay $1, pay nothing. You made it all for charity. Just go to KABBALAH1.com, KABBALAHONE.com, and it's all there for you. And I promise you, and I get messages all around the world about this, within the first hour, you will never see life the same again. And it will enhance everything you've learned.
Oh, I love it. I've done all of the Kabbalah 1, 2, 3. I still want to go see it again.
Oh.
The link is below for anyone who wants to. Give me your favorite quote before we wrap for today.
Consciousness is everything. Rob Berg gave me this quote. Everything is an illusion in this world. As long as you know your consciousness is your temple, you protect your mind, you protect your certainty, everything you've ever wanted in your life will come.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I could talk to you for hours, and I'm so proud of your massive accomplishments with the business and the wisdom that you teach around the world. I'm going to put your tags below so that people can follow you on Instagram. Thank you so much for sharing today and being here. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today. I loved today. It was so powerful, so special. Share with a friend. The best thing to do is every time you listen to a podcast is actually go on and share, because as we give, we receive. That's another thing, isn't it, in Kabbalah? To open your vessel more, you have to give. You give.
Keep letting go. Let more energy in.
And you give from a place of lack. When you're struggling in your life, I remember when I had no money, I would go and give with money. I would go and give to charity. I had nothing, and I would just give. Little dollars here and there, whatever I needed to do, because then you open your vessel to receive.
Totally.
On that note, we will see you guys again next time in a week. Thank you.